I am going to call to order the regular meeting of Sharonville City Council for March 11th, 2025. And if you could please stand and join Ms. Sue Knight in a prayer and Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Yes, could we please bow our heads? And first of all, let's thank God for the beautiful day we had today. Wasn't it awesome or what? All right, let's pray.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Buhey, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Tankersley?
Here.
Mrs. Sharpshire? Here. Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Lovett?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mrs. Knight? Here. Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
And Kurt Irie is absent with notice.
Thank you. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of our last meeting? All right, seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as written and distributed. Reports and communications, Mayor Hardman.
Yes, so for Mayor's Court report for February 2025, we brought in total revenue of $18,491.50, which makes us year-to-date $34,142.80, which is a good deal behind last year, but hopefully that means that everybody's like following the law. So that's a good thing. So the entire report will be available and made part of the minutes for your review. Hopefully you have marked your calendars and have signed up to join us tomorrow morning for our business appreciation breakfast. David has done an excellent job of from what I hear, we probably have one of the best numbers by way of people that will be attending tomorrow morning to talk about all the great things happening in Sharonville business-wise, as well as bringing, we have the Ohio Economic Development folks here, as well as Reddy that will be here to help present. Networking and check-in starts at 8 o'clock with the program beginning at 8:30, and we should be done by 10. So if you haven't signed up, I'm sure we can make room for you. So make the center tomorrow morning and join us for that. Hometown Guide is coming out, or it should be out soon. Lots of exciting things happening around the city starting here in April with the nice weather, not just the opening of the root beer stand, but got lots of new activities that are going to be happening down on the loop for the coming spring and summer months. So we've really focused on bringing some new events and new opportunities here. So hopefully you have seen those, and we'll make some efforts to show up and really make them successful, some really great opportunities to really bring the community together. That Anna has worked really hard with folks from our recreation department as well to really pull some of those great activities off and use this great new space that we have down there. So that is what I have by way of report, unless anyone has any questions for me.
All right, thank you. Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you. To the mayor's point about tomorrow morning, David mentioned today there's been 7 or 8 cancellations, and as we all know, VG always cooks a little bit more food than is needed anyway. So don't be bashful about coming tomorrow if you did not RSVP. Legislation-wise, the first 2 ordinances both deal with the next step of the appropriation process for Mosteller and Kemper Road. Our projects there have good news and bad news. So the good news regarding the Mosteller Road project is we needed 2 additional easements. We've been told that the Army is signing. They needed to do an environmental assessment per their federal government regulations, and they're just waiting on getting that environmental assessment back. Which should be they're thinking it should be this week. I don't know why they needed an environmental assessment if you've looked at the property or the easement that we need, but that's their process. Slightly negative news is we may need to start the resolution of intent legislation for 2 others. West Erie's been told everything's good. The paperwork's coming any day, but we just haven't gotten it, and we need to get this project formally going, both of these formally going, so we may be approaching Law Committee next Tuesday about starting the resolution of intent process for two that we don't think there'll be issues about, but we just haven't received their paperwork. But for us to get the project going, we need to go through both of those steps of legislation. Any questions on the first two items? Then that's it for tonight.
All right, thank you. I have no report this evening, so I'll move it along to Ms. Buhite, Clerk of Council.
Okay. I just wanted to report on the liquor permit for the root beer stand was passed along without objection from the police department or anyone on council.
Thank you.
Paul,
Yes, sir.
do we want to talk about the last resolution?
I was going to have a voice vote and move that to new business. Do you want to discuss it now under Mr. Lippert's report, or did you want to discuss it?
I mean, either way.
I can discuss it.
You've got the floor. It's your report.
So the resolution in support of State Issue 2, that's marked on the agenda as a first and only reading. I'm going to ask that be made a first reading. It's not as urgent as we initially thought. Second item that I have is that we got a notice of oral argument on the City of Sharonville v. Liquor Control Committee Code 51 appeal. So that's set for oral argument in front of the 10th District Court of Appeals. That's up in Franklin County in Columbus on April 8th, 2025. So there's a chance that oral argument might not occur at all. It only happens if either side wants it, so argument can be waived by both sides. And I haven't talked to our local counsel up there to find out whether or not the other side wants it. I think he would be willing to waive based on his brief that he submitted. That's all I got, unless anybody's got questions.
All right, seeing none, thank you. At this time, are there any residents desiring to be heard before council this evening? No, you missed last meeting. You're still good, okay. With notice, all right. All right, seeing none there. Council committees, community development, Mr. Tankersley.
Thank you. Just a reminder, tomorrow evening at 6:30 will be the BZA meeting in these chambers, and following that at 7 will be the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. No report for Budget and Finance. And moving on to Project Oversight, no report there. But our next Project Oversight meeting will be Tuesday evening, March 25th at 6 p.m. in the Administrative Conference Room. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Services, Mr. Lovett.
Good evening. Report is on file with Ms. Buhite. Spring sports are ramping up, so you're going to start seeing Gower and everything get moving here pretty rapidly. Per usual, our next meeting is on the 2nd of April in the Community Development Office until we find that we can get back into the conference room. So we'll be in the community on April 2nd. Thank you. 4 o'clock.
Thank you. Honored citizens, Ms. Knight.
Alrighty, tonight I'm honoring Will Deering and Raylyn Rapin. They are two Sharonville Sharks who participated this past weekend in the Special Olympics State Swim Championships in Columbus, Ohio. Will placed second in his 50 free. Raylyn placed first in her 50 free, fourth in her 25 back, and her relay placed first. Her mom forgot to tell me what relay it was, but I just want to congratulate our Sharonville Shark champions. Thank you.
Thank you. Law and Public Safety, Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be the 18th, 5 p.m. Administrative Conference Room. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, rule suspension of motions. For item number A, I need to change that due to an error on the agenda, so this resolution is to be heard at 3 meetings and not as an emergency, but as a first reading only this evening. So I will take a voice vote for moving rules and suspension motions for the first and only reading, immediate effectivity of Resolution 2025-R-04-E. We will be removing the emergency on that and moving that to new business. Is there a motion for that? Glenn, thank you for the first. Ms. Knight, thank you for the second. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor, yes? Yes. Those opposed, no. All right, that That motion carries. Thank you. Rules suspension motions for the second and third reading for immediate effectivity of ordinances 2025-E and 20-16E. I'm sorry, motion for rule suspension for those two ordinances as read. Mr. Tankersley, thank you for the first. Mr. Cook, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, yes?
Yes.
All those opposed, no? All right, that rule suspension motion for those ordinances is passed. Unfinished business, Ms. Buhite.
Okay. Second and third reading of ordinance 2025-15E, directing the filing of petitions to appropriate permanent and temporary easements as a quick take for the public purpose of improving Mostella Road, a public roadway open to the public without charge in the city of Sharonville, Hamilton County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Is there a motion for ordinance 2025-15-E? Mr. Tankersley, thank you for the first. Ms. Sharpshare, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshare?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Levitt?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
2025-15E, ordinance 2025-15E has been approved. Second and third reading of ordinance 2025-16E, directing the filing of petitions to appropriate permanent and temporary easements as a quick take for the public purpose of improving Kemper Road, a public roadway open to the public without charge in the city of Sharonville, Hamilton County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Is there a motion for ordinance 2025-16-E? So moved by Mr. Schmidt, second by Ms. Knight. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshare?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Levitt?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-16E has been approved.
Thank you. We'll move on to new business. Ms. Buhite.
All right. First reading of Emergency Resolution 2025-R04E, resolution in support of State Issue 2, renewal of the State Capital Improvement Program on the May 6th, 2025 statewide ballot.
All right, thank you. You have one more chance. Are there any residents desiring to be heard before council this evening? Nobody wants to talk? All right. Making it easy. Seeing none. Are there any other matters to be heard before council this evening? Ms. Sharpshare.
So March is National Women's History Month, and I'm wearing my shirt to commemorate that. And I just want to give a shout out to my niece, Josephine Sharpshare. She graduated from the Coast Guard boot camp this week. She had over 70 graduates, 70 kids in her group. Only 32 ended up graduating, and only 4 of those were women. So I just wanted to publicly tell her how proud of her I am and all of her graduates. So, and then on a different note, March 15th begins the signups for the Sharonville Sharks. So if you know anyone that wants to swim for us, you don't have to live in the city or have a membership to swim for the Sharks. You just need to sign up, and it begins the 15th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Knight.
Just talking about this beautiful day, I did spend it inside at the root beer stand, but with my fresh air workers, Jake Coulter and Matthew Hardman, they made the day go great. So I just want to shout out to the dads up here. Thank you.
Did you make them work hard? All right, thank you. That's all I care about. Any other matters? All right, seeing none with that, do I have a motion for adjournment? Mr. Tankersley, thank you for the first. Ms. Sharpshare, thank you for the second. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Those opposed, no. Thank you. We are adjourned.